Coming up on the next episode of the Celsius Pod.
I got a participation trophy, revoking my claps.
Is this the one where they make the song about how they don't diddle kids?
Heck, you could. Hear me out. Just not put it on your resume.
What? Episode 84.
Stay back.
Hey guys, I have a question.
Yeah.
No.
So now that we're 83 episodes in, do you guys feel very comfortable podcasting?
Yes.
Not at all. Well, maybe. I don't know.
I'm so comfortable podcasting, bro. I talk so naturally. It's crazy. Like when I have to sit down with a script, I'm so stiff. It's so cringe. But podcasting now, I can actually bring energy to it. You know?
Off the cuff. You know how to off the cuff. You say, wow. You know this right here? I don't have one right now. But you see this right here? That's my cuff. And it's off. It's off the cuff. See, no cuff.
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
What I have noticed is sometimes the podcast will go on a bit long because I have a lot of ums and stuff. You know?
You do have a lot of ums and stuff. It took how long to get through Game of Thrones?
Only 30 minutes.
To get through, how long to get through Inside Out?
We did break the record for longest Celsius pod bit with Game of Thrones 2 episodes ago.
I thought Madam Web was still in the lead.
How long was Madam Web?
That was maybe an hour or something.
Really?
Madam Web.
I remember, dude, I swear, the Nicola Silo segment, I remember that being 2 hours. It was only 27 minutes. And we called it the Mega Silo review.
And we were just doing nothing while he was just reading a plot description of the entire show.
We were not paying attention.
I really remember at the beginning when we started the podcast, we were talking, we were like, how long do you want to make the episodes? Aiden's like, you know what, we have to keep it below 30 minutes. We passed 2 hours, 30 minutes.
You know why? Because in the old episodes, we don't go into plot. We just said, I watched this recently. Pretty good. There's this and this that aren't good. But overall, this is all right. And then we talked for 2 minutes about it.
Yeah.
That's why. That's what happened.
Now it has very much become way longer length.
No, it's actually shorter than it used to be, surprisingly.
Yeah.
It's become us just saying the plot of the show and no commentary.
Yeah. No, because literally I was talking and my mom was like, yeah, Beck has this great review of Inside Out. And I'm like, it's a 37-minute plot summary. It's not a review.
And I love for the Silo thing, Nicola, we don't discuss it at all.
Yeah.
He just reads a plot
See,
description of a show he didn't even watch at the time.
With
he didn't even watch the
Inside Out
show.
and Game of Thrones, it's discussion, talking about the stuff. When it's one person reading it out, there's you can't respond to anything that's happening. You'd be like, wow, that's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, that's me during Game of Thrones and The Boys.
But at least me and Beck have a little discussion about the characters.
Speaking of that, Aiden.
Wait. Yeah.
So we know everyone has a big show of the summer because Uri, you have House of the Dragon, The Bear, The Boys.
Boys.
So you have a lot of good stuff. I have House of the Dragon and Boys. But Aiden, he's running out of. He doesn't have a big show of the summer.
My shows, Smiling Friends, ends this coming week. Craig of the Creek, it's only got 5 episodes left. Superman, same thing. That's not going to last me all of the summer.
But what if there was some kind of spin-off to a pre-established show?
A pre-established show that's pretty mediocre, but this character I really like.
And what if it was announced to be coming out on July 18th?
Kite Man show? Beautiful. Gonna be great. Gonna be terrible. Gonna be great.
Yeah.
Why is it gonna be terrible?
Because Harley Quinn kind of sucked as a show. So
only the last 2 seasons, really. The first 2 seasons were peak.
Not
Seasons.
Not peak.
All right. Well, let's get into some other news that we have.
News. I have a few things I need to get off my chest.
Ooh.
Is actually a homosexual.
So, Beck,
February coming out in Pride Month. Very good.
we're kicking you off the podcast.
Oh
and
no.
we're putting in black buy-ins.
Oh, okay. That kind of sucks. You know, I really don't like that guy. Kind of smashed my TV randomly. It was very annoying.
It was not your TV. It was his own TV.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like he borrowed it from me.
But anyway, in reality, so a long time ago, which was maybe like a month ago.
It's a long time.
A long time ago.
Or maybe a month and a half ago.
Ooh, wow, and Uri, come on, a month and a half. I barely remember that.
Wow.
Yeah,
What were you doing a month and a half ago?
Dinosaurs?
What were you doing a month and a half ago?
I was in school. I was dying, but now I'm out of school and I'm living.
Imagine.
Aiden, you're still in school.
Imagine, dude. Imagine.
All right.
So a month and a half ago, I think I was still in my cinema production class, which is a class where we made like a few movies. And so for the final, I made this movie called Dreaming.
Ooh.
Wow.
Essentially, it's a movie about a guy who chases himself within his own dream. And I tried to make it very kind of like metaphysical, you know, like a bunch of shots. What does that mean exactly? It's all taking place in his head, but it's very clear that it takes place in his head. Anyway, I showed it in like my premiere class for all the final films, and like I got like a pretty good response. They liked it. So my teacher said, "You know what? You should submit it to like a best shorts competition."
Wait, you have a supportive video production teacher?
Exactly.
Bro, I'm so jealous. He wants you to submit stuff to festivals? Wow.
Be back, you sexist.
Oh, sorry.
But no.
He hates women directors. That's why he hates Lady Bird and Barbie.
Lady Bird's like one of my favorite movies of all time. Okay, you hate Little Women, okay? You can't judge me on that.
Oh, I hate Little Women.
You gave Little Women the same rating as Megamind 2, okay?
Yeah, but did you even see season 2 back? I didn't think
Season 2's out?
Anyway.
Wait, how did they make it so quickly?
Because they have no budget.
Anyway.
Okay, yeah, get back.
He tells me I should submit to this best shorts competition, which is kind of like, I think it's international competition. So it's like, it's almost like the last day. It's like of an extended deadline. June 12th is like the deadline. So I submitted like June 11th my short. I was like thinking, okay. But then a few days ago, guys, I did get an award for the movie.
Let's go! Congrats, bro.
Nice. Let's go, Ray.
So now it's not one of the big awards of this show. It's an award of recognition for my movie.
How much money
But
did you get?
I got a participation trophy, revoking my class.
How much money did you get? And I do take a 20% cut.
No money for this.
But, you need to get money off this.
I can put something on my LinkedIn.
Oh wait! Did they give you like one of those like banner things where it was like you can put up?
Yeah, they gave me a laurel.
They gave you a laurel. Yeah, you can put that on the thumbnail of the YouTube video now.
The main interesting part of this now is that I have uploaded this movie to IMDB, and so now I'm listed on IMDB for this movie.
Wait,
why haven't we seen it?
Now I'm also in the process of trying to get it uploaded to Letterboxd, but that's been a bit more difficult.
What is this? Why haven't we watched it? What's it called?
Oh my god, Uri Ponte, director from Dreaming 2024? Yo! You were the writer, the cinematography, editor, and producer? What?
Yeah, and I got my friend to be like the star.
It's the gripping experimental short film.
So we're right now, and guys, I actually found out the process of uploading your movie to IMDb is way easier than you'd think.
Yeah, I should do that.
You should upload Boss Fight.
I'm not uploading Boss Fight.
I could be cinematographer for Boss Fight.
Well, I would cite you as cinematographer.
Can I rate this a 0 out of 10?
Can we get the Celsius podcast as a show on IMDb?
Where can I watch this, Uri?
I'm gonna assume
There's a personal YouTube channel for the movie.
I'm gonna assume it's called
So-
Uri Ponte.
No, it's called Dreaming. But that's kind of an interesting thing.
Okay, top cast: Holden, Chicharella, Man, and Evil Moon. Okay.
Yeah, he plays himself. 2 people in this movie.
Oh, you version Glipping! Oh my god, you love Glipping.
Yeah. So that's where we leave it for now. But I wanna get
Uri
to
has
other-
officially won the award as first person on IMDb.
Yeah, bad. I can't wait to put your what Eternal Judgment.
Eternal
On
Judgment.
IMDb.
Yeah, no, that's going on Letterboxd also. You know.
Back, I can just do it myself. You know.
Wow, you're gonna put
make myself
my
director.
film.
Not if I do it first.
Did I? You are no, you're off screen in that one scene, so I don't have to cite you as an actor.
But the thing is, that just relates to my 2 next points that we're going to the short film. So guys, it's official. We got the green light to make Don't Pee.
Oh my god. I was surprised you guys actually went through with that.
Yeah, yeah. He's surprised that I went to his house. You're surprised I did this. I will commit to the bit.
How did you get the email?
Oh, because they're a company.
Yeah. All right. Well,
So I emailed the company.
well, do you guys have a script written?
Oh,
No,
nothing. I just told them that we wanted to make it.
Oh. Well, what if there was
Yeah,
some
I
kind
did.
of train ride where you guys brainstormed ideas?
Yeah, we didn't do that. Well, anyway, here's the email. I said, hello, Naughty Clogs. That's the company. I said, my friends and I wanted to know if we had permission to make an amateur short film based on your hit game. Based on your hit game, Don't Pee. It won't be monetized, and it's purely just for fun, but we are wanting to inquire about permission before proceeding with the production. Thank you.
That is such a
And they
serious
said-
email.
They said, hello, Aiden, thank you for reaching out. As long as you're not planning to monetize it or release it for commercial use, you are more than welcome to adapt Don't Pee into a short film. We'd all love to see it. Keep us posted. Can't wait.
So that means Aiden, back crazy scenario. We give it to them and they put it as like promotional material. Crazy.
It could. You don't know.
We don't know.
You don't
but,
know.
That is
but back now this now confirms us. Now we have to.
now
make
we
the movie.
do have
We do
to.
have to. I love it. It's gonna be great. It's
I
gonna
need
be
to
great.
actually play this game.
I have it in my Steam. Just go play it
We'll
right now.
play it for research.
We'll play it after the pod.
And so I'm saying this on the podcast, so now it's confirmed, and so we can't back out of it now.
We
guys.
never
officially- we're
promised
officially
anything on the
walking.
podcast that we haven't backed out of, you know?
Yeah. So
Everyone wants-
So now we're probably going to go in pre-production in July, and then probably film in like early August.
Yes.
Or
that's
July.
I
also.
leave
We can
for
probably also-
college.
Yeah. Well, you live at the end of August, more. so-
I start school on the 27th, so filming needs to have at least wrapped by then.
Yeah. So that's very exciting. But
Yeah.
on my last thing of my short films, I'm also making my own personal short film by myself all throughout the summer.
Nice.
It's a gripping drama.
This
Yay!
one,
Just-
the second IMDb Uri Ponte film.
yeah. If I make it well, I'm probably gonna try to submit to a festival.
Yeah.
But right now I'm doing this thing where it's the character throughout the movie is changing he has a different outfit that kind of reflects different stages of his character arc.
Mm.
So
Nice.
I go from a black to a white outfit where I got gray, dark gray, light
Ooh.
to reflect his
He's
change
got
throughout
a
the movie.
wardrobe.
Yeah, I got a wardrobe for this shit.
I like it.
Okay,
I like
but
it.
Uri, I already beaten you this punch because in the Murder of Al Ulbrickson, each character wears a different colored shirt. So it's like the same thing.
But this is the same character. But yeah, very exciting. I got an IMDb credit. We're gonna make Don't Pee. I'm gonna make my own short
And
movie.
I might finally get cited on IMDb for the film Don't Pee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll try again in Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Don't be.
Yeah.
Trump. Very exciting.
We gotta post
So excited.
/don't pee, like get the whole like community behind it.
Hell yeah.
Start a
Make an
Kickstarter,
Instagram
you know, get
account.
funding from fans so we can get a budget.
I don't we can't monetize it,
Yeah, no,
though.
I'm joking. We're definitely not doing that.
Yeah, make an Instagram account promoting
Don't
movie.
pee film.
Don't pee film.
Yep.
Yeah.
But look into our
You know,
watching.
I can't wait for someone to look at my resume. Films, don't pee.
Hell yeah.
No other job experience, just that.
Beck, you could hear me out. Just not put it on your resume.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah. If you're worried about that, you could just not do it.
No, I'd be very proud to, you know, because you know.
Also, yes, I would. No doubt.
Famous director Christopher Nolan. He's the biggest Don't Pee fan in the world. I'm immediately co-writer of Oppenheimer too, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't even have internet, but my son said I had to see this.
Yeah.
But that's pretty crazy. We're doing some very
highbrow stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's very, very exciting, guys.
Guys, we could call it the Don't Pee arc.
Don't pee arc. That's the new summer arc. We don't watch Ruby.
Hey, have you watched one episode of Ruby?
My summer hasn't started.
If you never watched one episode of Ruby,
my summer hasn't started yet, so it doesn't count.
We could
thing about Spring Break and Avatar, and look where that got us.
Yeah, you know what? And I don't care.
We could update every episode with updates on Don't Pee.
Yeah,
true.
That. Very, very exciting, guys. Guys, now that I'm trying to get more to the film world.
Yeah.
I now have like a resume and LinkedIn stuff for that, where I follow different groups. And actually, I've acted in a few student short films.
Ooh, the Icelandic women guy.
Yeah, but now there's a film I did almost near the end of the year where I'm only in like one scene. But it's like I'm talking to like a guy, like it's about making a movie, and sometimes
you're saying the guy, this is the movie?
No,
this is the show.
The guy needs like fake blood for a movie, and I tell him you can't get any more fake blood. You already have too much fake blood.
Yeah.
For the movie,
yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh no, the blood we're using is real." And then there's a one who comes from behind and like stabs me in the chest, and I fall down and die.
That's a funny plot idea.
Killing me, yeah.
I don't think it's as funny as I think
like 5 films this summer already. You know, intricate short film sketches.
Oh, yeah. We need to do more of them.
We should post them to the main channel.
Beck, I have a question. If you were to if out of all your films, what films would you like to put on your resume?
Ooh. I mean, I had to do this. I had to do this basically for college apps where they asked for like a creative resume. And I think what I did was I did Boss Fight, I did Eternal Judgment, I did The Storming of September 9th, and I think I did like one of my packages just to like have that the Alcatraz Redemption. That one is one I'm really proud of.
Wow.
But yeah, nothing from like first year video production. I would not show any of that.
You would probably do The Break-In.
Oh yeah.
I'd probably also put Boss Fight. I'd put The Almost True Story, and then I might do So Today, the one music video I made.
Aiden, the one thing I would say with the true story of the Celsius Pod and The Break-In is let's imagine it's like a 60-year-old guy and and you have the character on screen go, and I'm solving crimes and I solved the crime. Do you think he'll understand the reference?
No, but I think it'd be funny.
Yeah.
But
lots of movies have unnamed characters back that aren't named until the end.
Okay, but it's the big thing with the break-in was like it's a big reveal that Solvey Crimes is making his return. Except that I already had Solvey Crimes return.
Wait. No, you have to put in Eternal Judgment as like a precursor, you know?
No,
Like,
because you have to realize Solvey Crime literally didn't matter. I thought of that on the spot, and that was the last shot I filmed, so it doesn't matter. That Solvey Crime is
The
there.
most like annoying thing I had to do was a lot of like times when I submitted stuff, they were like, guys, you have a 5-minute time limit. And I'm like, Eternal Judgment is 7 minutes, 18 seconds. So I had to cut so much and like cut like seconds to like make sure it went below like the 5-minute mark.
Yeah.
well, but you have a future in network television if you know how to cut seconds.
Yeah.
Mm.
It
Like,
is crazy to me, like how someone can like write a script and be like, this is gonna be exactly 23 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
How do TV shows do that?
No
I'm
idea.
shocked.
Bro's shocked.
For my career resume when I was applying for colleges, I made a film, guys. That
Sullivan.
No, it wasn't Sullivan.
I thought it was Sullivan.
I did make Sullivan for one of the things, but that was only because I panicked and I didn't think my first film that I made was as good enough. But in hindsight, I think my first film was better than Sullivan. And
First one was better than Sullivan.
it was a movie about a guy who swam and like he has a lot of trauma because he swims.
Imagine.
It was called Swimming.
Imagine being called Swimming.
What if there was a film about a deaf dancer called Dance to Your Death?
Are you gonna make that? Are you gonna make a movie about that?
Make that official movie.
Well, but let's get off of this topic. Let's talk about what we're watching.
Yeah, no, we have not talked about what we're watching at all, and we're like 20 minutes in.
Uri, can you just send me the link to Dreaming? I cannot find where to watch it.
Guys, I'll put the link to Dreaming in the link for this.
The link in the description. Remember to like and subscribe.
Remember to comment your favorite movie that we've made and make sure that I made it.
Yeah. So, guys, listen off. Murder of Al Ulbrickson, the Multiversal Nothings.
The Break-In.
The Break-In.
They know. We know.
No.
Celsius 232.
Oh, sorry.
Obviously. Dreaming.
The music video.
Yeah.
Swimming Sullivan.
The Scrap movie. My package.
You winked
Night.
very weirdly there.
What?
Poker
Night.
Advanced Improved Cheating. AKA the
film. Advanced Improved Cheating.
But guys, Aiden, can you talk about like a movie with Nicolas Cage for me?
Yeah, I'll talk about a movie with Nicolas Cage. So I watched the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, starring Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal. So this movie, Nicolas Cage, he's getting divorced. His family hates him, and he's broke. He's broke. And his agent is like, hey, dude, there's a birthday party, and they're willing to pay $1 million for you to be at the birthday party. He's like, you know what? Fine. This is my last gig, and then I quit.
Pablo Escobar.
No, man. His name is Javier, played by Pedro Pascal. And Nicolas Cage is like, wow, I'm here at this island, and it kind of sucks. And then Pedro Pascal, his character Javier, he's like awesome. And Nicolas Cage is like, you know, Javier, I fucking love you, man. You're so cool. And then Nicolas Cage gets kidnapped by the CIA, and the CIA is like, Nicolas Cage, listen. Your friend Javier, he kidnapped the ambassador of whatever country and his daughter, so that this guy gets out of the race. And you need to stop him. You need to go find the kid. Imagine if your kid was kidnapped. And Nicolas Cage is like, fine, I'll do it. But I really like this Javier guy. He loves Paddington too. And the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Good movie.
No, it's not.
You left that one out specifically?
Yes, they do.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. This was a movie Aiden had to watch for a discussion post, and he just didn't watch it.
No, but I watched some of it and it was boring. So
I liked it.
well,
You've
yeah, okay.
seen
So the
it?
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Oh,
Really? You liked it?
Yeah. I liked it.
I
thought it was
saw it. It
interesting.
was like some random German horror film. You sure?
yeah.
Was it good?
I liked it.
Yeah, I feel like it's like it could be good. Like I've watched some old movies, I'm like, wow, this is surprisingly good. But I was surprised by like people enjoying it. It did not look very good to me.
No, so Nicolas Cage, he breaks into the
boss fight.
Yeah, he breaks in the camera room and he gets the surveillance for the CIA. And then the CIA is like, hey, Nicolas Cage, we think the girl is in this room here. You go to that room and get her out. But then he doesn't, and he goes on LSD with Javi, and they trip balls. And then they do an LSD funny moment. And then that's where the Pedro Pascal smiling gif comes from, when he's on LSD.
Yo, I know that gif.
And then they go to the room, and Nicolas Cage is like, Javi, I gotta see what's in the room. And Javi's like, regardless of the consequences, regardless what you will think of me as a person after this. And Nicolas Cage is like, yes. So then they go into the room, and it's a full room of Nicolas Cage memorabilia with a $6,000 wax figure of Nicolas Cage with the real guns they used in the movie I forgot the name of. And they have... Not Face Off. It's not Face Off. It's a different movie. But then Nicolas Cage is like, wow, you really like my movies and me as a person, don't you, Javi? And Javi's like, I do, sir. And he's like, how much for this ugly wax figure? $2,000, $20,000? He says, it is not for sale, sir. And then Javi kidnaps his family.
Ooh.
Just kidding. He doesn't kidnap his family.
But
Nicolas Cage is like, man, we should add a kidnapping thing to our script that we're making, because he's trying to figure out where he's hiding the girl.
Oh.
And then Javi's like, oh, you just want to add this because you have a bad relationship with your daughter. And he's like, yeah. And so he brings his divorced wife and daughter to the island so they can talk it out. And while they're talking it out, Javi gets pulled back by his cousin, and his cousin's like, I'm the one that kidnapped the girl. And Javi's like, no, you kidnapped the girl? And he's like, yes. And your best friend, Nicolas Cage, he's working for the CIA. And he's like, no, my friend Nicolas Cage, I have to kill him. And CIA to Nicolas Cage is like, Nicolas Cage, you're going to have to kill Javi before he kills your family. And he's like, oh, man. Oh. And so they drive out to the countryside together to go and kill each other. And they swap shoes real quick. And then Nicolas Cage is like, oh, I have 2 guns. And Javi's like, I have 1 gun. And almost make out. But then they get shot at by these other guys who are working for the main guy. And they're like, we're going to work together now because we're best friends. And Javi isn't the bad guy. So then they go and they run away and they escape with his family and Javi's lover. And they're like, but wait, we got to go get that other girl. And so they go and get the other girl. And also the CIA agents died. So they go and get the other girl by Nicolas Cage pretending to be this one guy they haven't seen in 15 years. And then it doesn't work, but then it does work. And the whole thing was a movie the whole time. But it actually happened. It actually happened, and then they made it into a... And then Nicolas Cage lives happily ever after with his family, and Javi lives with his girl happily ever after. And Nicolas Cage makes out with a version of him from, what is the movie called? Cage.
Ghost Rider?
No.
Yeah, definitely the Ghost Rider movie.
Let's go with him from Moonstruck.
Nice.
Which is very cool. Pretty good movie. I think the first 30 minutes is really boring. But then once the CIA stuff happens, it's really cool. Nicolas Cage is a really good actor, especially when he's playing a fictionalized version of himself.
Is that a recurring? Has there been more times than just that one movie
that he plays himself?
Yeah,
I don't know. He just did a really good job at playing himself.
Yeah, it was a great movie from what I remember. It was like a
Mhm.
really fun because it's really fun when the Javier and Nicolas Cage relationship. That's a pretty
Yeah,
fun part of the movie where they're just kind of doing shit.
definitely.
And it's a pretty enjoyable movie. It's kind of I don't know because Nicolas Cage has kind of been in a movie every year since like 1995 or something.
Yeah,
That's
But
weird.
that's
this
weird.
movie
No,
kind
I
he's a
mean,
great
that's
actor.
cool weird, you know?
this. Why did you say like a
Weird.
child? Weird.
Wow, Nicolas Cage in a movie every year. That's so weird.
Weird. That's weird.
That's
Mommy,
weird. Ew.
Mommy, I spilled my pants. It's so weird.
Continue.
Okay. Yeah.
And but I think this movie really started kind of like a Nicolas Cage renaissance in an aspect of a way because he's been in a lot of movies since then. There's other movies like Pig, that was something he was in, and well, there's a few other movies, but I'm not remembering right now. But yeah,
I don't know. Best part about this movie was when the CIA agent first goes up to Nicolas Cage. He's like, "Oh my God, Nicolas Cage, my son loved you in The Croods too." And I'm like, "Yo, The Croods too." And every time they mentioned Paddington 2 being like a cinematic masterpiece is also pretty funny.
I don't remember Paddington 2 that much.
Yeah, they mentioned it like
I
four
think I
times.
only watched the first Paddington. I need to see the second one.
The blessing of Hideo Kojima.
But yeah, no, it's a pretty good movie. I would suggest people who haven't seen it to watch it. Beck?
It's pretty funny.
Maybe.
Pretty good.
I got a lot of stuff on my watch list.
Bro's got a lot of stuff. So does someone else want to do something? Talk
do
about something, or should I?
I'll talk about something.
Wow.
Sure.
Okay, fine, Uri.
Going way over Beck's head.
I like it.
So I watched a few movies this past week. Sorry. And so there was a horror movie I went to theaters to watch. It wasn't available in many theaters, so I had to go to the AMC Mercado to watch it.
Yeah, it's so hard to find like movie releases like crazy. It's almost like there was like someone like 50 miles away from us.
Okay, Beck, why are you going this route with it? I'm talking about my other movie.
Okay, I'm
I
just
don't know.
saying, like setting it up.
So it's this movie called In a Violent Nature. It's kind of an art house experimental horror movie in a way that um we follow it's basically your same horror movie except it's shot in a really interesting way where it's all essentially the movie starts with like a group of like campers and they pick up this locket and they're like, what's this locket doing here on this random metal pipe? Let's take it or something. And then we see the killer rise from there. But the entire movie, we see like basically the killer's just kind of walking and we just see the back of his head walking and there's a lot of like static noise and stuff as a lot of the movie is him just walking and like hearing the other campers and essentially the thing is like this killer they provided some backstory for this killer, which I do not think was very needed, but essentially, like that was his mother's locket, and he was like killed as a child, and now that they've woken him, he can't really be put down unless he's like back at that place or something.
This sounds like they took Friday the 13th and then changed
Just
it a little bit.
Yeah, but I think it's a little bit more interesting because it's like they do it's very weird. I love the cinematography of the movie. It's like very kind of like very gnarly and kind of like just kind of so like I guess it's just so different it felt to me. But the deaths in this movie are pretty brutal. There's some like interesting deaths because they do a death where it's like a guy's about like he's about to grab a guy's face, but then as he goes in, it changes to a different shot, but now his hand is bloody.
Oh.
And so
Wow.
it's kind of unique in that aspect. There is a scene. This is the harshest kill in the movie where it's a girl is like she's like doing yoga on a cliff and she's like expecting someone to come and she's like you finally came and then she sees it's him and she can't decide if she wants to go off the cliff but by the time she like decides he like puts a chain into her
Ooh.
and then like
Oh, jeez.
like he stabs her through her gut and pulls out her shit and then he puts the chain up her neck and then he pulls her head into her gut.
That's crazy. He didn't need to do all that. He's already dead.
And it does kind of an interesting plot point where it's like they reveal at the end that kind of he might have this disease called a hen house disease, where something is like is so obsessed with killing, it's the only thing they can do. But the thing is, like, if he was so obsessed with killing, why would he do like an interesting way to do it?
Because he's obsessed with it. He has to perfect his craft,
I guess. But it's like, and we don't really see what the front of his face at all for the movie, except when he's like playing with like car keys, because we then see the front of him, because it's like revealed that he's like essentially just a child who was killed, but then he kind of snaps out of it and continues to kill. And then there's like, we do have like a final girl, and the movie kind of ends where you'd think like, oh, the girl gets away in this car, but then we continue her in the car, and they do this really long scene where she's just talking to the person who picked her up, and like she's her friend, the person who picked her up, is saying, my brother was in these woods one time and he was attacked by a bear who pulled him by the chain. And so you wonder if it's like, maybe it's the guy they're talking about, or maybe it's just a metaphor for violence or something like that.
Bro said metaphor for violence.
But what if the friend is the real killer?
Did we ever think about that?
It's not it's like the woman, just a woman who picked her up. But it was very interesting. I would say I give it like a 3.5. I enjoyed it, I think, as much as I enjoyed Inside Out 2.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Because I saw it the day before. But
well, all right, you still have 22 minutes if you want to talk about it as much as you liked Inside Out 2.
Yeah. No, but it was a very enjoyable movie. If you like horror movies and you like these more of art house kind of style movies, it's good for that. And yeah.
All right. What next movie?
I have another movie.
Yes.
I watched. Guys, I forgot that I usually, because we usually have big group topics, I don't get to talk about my things as much.
Yeah, no,
you can just talk about your stuff, Hurry.
Yeah.
No one's stopping you.
Because I want to hear about this next one.
I watched A Star Is Born.
And I say what I know about this movie because I have a funny story.
What do you know about
I
this
was
movie?
on a plane, and I believe it was my mom was watching A Star Is Born, and I caught I don't know which scene this is, but I thought it was pretty crazy. It's this girl, and she's performing on a stage to a lot of fans, and there's this guy in a cabin, then he shoots himself in the head.
I like it.
Yeah.
Wait, he shoots himself?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
Is that is it this movie?
I don't know if that's this movie.
Is it a different movie I'm thinking of?
No,
maybe.
Which version of the movie was it? Because there's multiple versions of this movie.
There's multiple versions of this movie?
There's multiple stars.
Yeah. It was A Star Is Born.
Wait, I'm gonna just... There's I'm pretty sure he kills himself by hanging himself with a belt.
Okay, well, he's they cut to a cabin and he kills himself.
It's not in a cabin.
I might be thinking of a different movie. Okay, whatever movie a guy shoots himself and he's in a cabin.
Because we don't really see him die. It's we see outside the garage door anyway.
I might be misremembering it. It's intercutting when she's on stage and he kills himself, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't kill himself with shooting by himself.
Okay, well, I might have the method of death wrong, but I swear I remember the scene.
I have the method of death wrong.
Beck, what happens in the scene exactly? So you're right. She is singing to a bunch of fans, and then it does cut to this I guess cabin-like place is the thing, but maybe it's just the method of death.
Okay, I could sworn it was A Star Is Born.
I think it might be. I just think you have the method of death wrong.
Maybe it was the one from the 70s.
It was probably not the one from the 70s.
It could have been. You never know.
I love this movie.
Because I have never seen this movie, and I don't really remember the plot. But from the bits I know, do I get the plot somewhat right? There's this big singer guy, and he gets a girlfriend, and he starts teaching the girlfriend how to play guitar. and the girl becomes a bigger star than him, and the guy is so devastated that he shoots himself in the face while in a cabin.
I like it. That sounds like
you got kind of like right, but kind of really, really wrong.
No, I think I got the plot 100% right.
I remember I have the plot open right here. Open right here, and it says that he killed himself because he was in a cabin. Actually, that was the reason for that.
He killed himself because he was in a cabin.
He just fucking hates cabins.
In that cabin, dude.
Okay, but essentially, yes, you're right. There's this big Bradley Cooper. I think this is a movie that Bradley Cooper should have won an Oscar for because he was really good in this movie.
Not
Tomorrowland. Wait, what? Is Bradley Cooper in Tomorrowland?
Back, it was Bradley Cooper, right?
Really?
Oh, wait, who is it in Tomorrowland? Wait, who is in Tomorrowland?
What?
House?
Who is in? No, not House. The other guy.
George Clooney?
Clooney. Never mind. That's a different guy.
Jesus Christ, Aiden.
They're the same guy.
No, Bradley Cooper and George Clooney.
Those are the same person.
Guys, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you noticed that Bradley Cooper is kind of desperate for an Oscar, and he's been kind of like wanting an Oscar for a very long time, but he hasn't received one. And this is a movie I think where he should have won because he's been nominated for Maestro most recently, and I think Silver Linings Playbook. But this is I love this movie because it's kind of like a great movie about the nature of relationships and addiction, and so I'll tell you the plot.
Yeah,
where Beck got it wrong. So there's a big wet country music guy, Jackson, Maine, and then one night, and he's an addict, by the way, guys.
Oh man,
he's addicted to alcohol and drugs, and then he goes to like this bar, and then this woman named Allie is singing, and she already knows how to play guitar and sing.
Okay,
she already knows how to do that. But then he kind of like takes her on it, and like they start dating, and then he helps her kind of like become a big star by letting him sing at one of her shows, and like they started a relationship where it's like she's becoming big and he's helping her, but he's also had internal demons with his addiction. And this is kind of like the peak of the movie where you get such secondhand embarrassment from this, where she wins a Grammy, and she goes up on stage and she's like saying great, but he's like high and drunk out of his mind that he walks up on stage right next to her and he starts peeing his pants and then he collapses. And it's such a hard scene to watch.
I mean, who hasn't done that?
I've done it every day since I was born.
I only do that. I only did it at the Latin Grammys, so
yeah,
not the main Grammys, but and so then he goes to like a rehab for this, obviously, because this was a really low moment, and then he seems like he gets better, and but then like Allie says to like her tour manager, she says, "I'm canceling the tour because I gotta be with like my husband because they're married at this point."
This is gonna ruin the tour.
It's gonna ruin the tour. No.
We are not talking about something that will age out.
It's gonna age out in tomorrow.
I can say it now because it's relevant now.
And so she's like, the manager's all like, no, and but then the manager says, goes to Jackson and says, she's never gonna tell you this, but you are ruining her tour right now, and Jackson feels really bad about this, that he's kind of bringing her down, and he's not letting her be her best self, and so then cut to like the next scene. She's at the concert, Beck.
No
she's
way.
like doing her thing.
She kills himself.
And then he goes into his garage and he hangs.
He goes into a cabin.
Nope, garage.
Cabin. He kills himself in the cabin.
And then she's like really sad, but then she like talks to his brother, and then like, it's not all for nothing. He did inspire some great music, and then she sings as like memorial or something.
I know that one song from the movie that was like really popular.
Shallow?
Yeah. Is that the song she sings in memory?
This is a great, I think so. There's some great songs in this. I've been getting to more Lady Gaga recently because of this, and she's
getting to Lady Gaga.
And she has some pretty good songs,
No, I really like Born This Way. It's a good song.
I like Bad Romance.
Bro goes ah.
But no, it's like
Ah.
a really great movie, and just like I love it so much. But
Nice.
Beck, you want to talk about some movies?
Yes, then we can do the
it's
group
your turn.
ones.
I still have
Oh,
individual
you got
stuff
individual stuff? Okay.
though.
I will
14
do
each of.
my first movie I watched, The Interview. So it's about Seth Rogen and James Franco, and they have to interview Kim Jong Un. So they go to North Korea, and then they kill Kim Jong Un because like the CIA
Alright, so
wanted to hire him.
I want to watch this movie like right now.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the movie you were talking about, where it's like the CIA and he has to kill someone. You know?
Yeah, but the Nicolas Cage movie isn't really a comedy.
Isn't okay? This one is
I mean,
definitely a comedy.
it is a comedy, but it's not like it doesn't focus on being a comedy. It's just like look at what's happening
This
with
one is
Nicolas
very
Cage.
much focused on being a comedy to its detriment at sometimes, but there are some really funny scenes. I feel like they did Kim Jong Un really funny.
Beck, have you seen fuck, what is it called? What's the one movie with the puppets? Team America?
No, I haven't, but I heard it's good.
That one's also good. It also has to do with North Korea.
Yeah.
I should totally rewatch that movie. It's so funny.
I was really into nukes, I think, this week. So the next one I watched was Doctor Strangelove. Okay, it's a good movie. The thing that was crazy to me was like it starts off with a message about there are many safeguards to prevent this from happening. Don't worry.
Don't worry, guys.
Because I think they do
right now.
do like a really it's a plan that you'd think was possible, you know? So it's like this guy and he like really hates the Russians because they're putting fluoride in the US water supply.
No, not fluoride.
He gives these bombers the signal to nuke Russia and like gives them the order to take no comms except from the code he knows. And then the US finds out and they're like, hey, we need to find this guy and get the code so we can stop them from nuking Russia, because then Russia will nuke us and the world will end. So they call Russia and they're like, don't nuke us, we're trying to stop these planes. They're like, but we have built this device that will automatically nuke you if we get nuked. And they're like, why the fuck would you do that?
Sounds great.
So now they need to stop the bombers. They go and they try to stop the bombers, but one of the planes has a damaged like radio, so they don't get the like abort signal when they finally get it. But good news, they're going in on their target and they're out of fuel, so they have to go to a different target. But then the hatch doors won't open. So our guy with a cowboy hat goes in and he's like, you know, because like right now they think the world is ending and they need to nuke it to like save the US, even though nothing's happening. So he thinks he's like saving the world kind of. So he goes and he's like trying really hard to open the hatch. They're like approaching the target. He finally gets the hatch open and they're like, okay, we're at the target and the guy's still trying to fix it. He finally gets it. And they say drop it. The doors open and the guy wearing the cowboy hat is still on the nuke. So he's riding the nuke like a cowboy as it's going down and bombing Russia. I thought that was a really funny scene, and it's also very funnily green screened.
This movie is really good because it just kind of like points the stupidity about all the bombing and like nuclear arms. Because Kubrick himself he researched nuclear arms warfare, and it's like he kind of realized how paradoxical the whole kind of scenario is, and kind of how like idiotic it all is, kind of. And because like the main guy, they go to war because he thinks that the Russians are going to hijack their bodily fluids.
Yeah.
And that's really funny.
Oh, my bodily fluids! Those are my bodily fluids!
One of the best scenes is the final scene, because they're like, okay, what if the nukes actually get dropped? We need to go to mine shafts and protect the American citizens. And then one guy's like, but we need to prevent the Russians from also taking the mine shafts. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Who cares the fuck about mine shafts? 90% of the population's about to die. I just thought,
you need the mine shafts back. Come on.
Yeah, it just becomes all about getting on the other person's side, just getting one up. It's really funny that the main guy, scientist, is just a fucking Nazi.
He literally is. I'm like, why the fuck is this dude in the war room?
Because he has to be back. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a really funny movie, kind of pointing at the errors of kind of
yeah, and the whole Cold War culture of being very anti-communist and all the conspiracy around that, you know.
Yeah. Some say it's the Oppenheimer prequel. No.
Really? People say that.
No, I said it.
All right. And that is all my solo stuff, I believe.
You don't want to talk about robots and whatever?
Oh, nah. No, because that's 8. You know, Aiden, since you asked, I have 8 episodes of Love, Death, Robots I'm going to talk about.
Talk about them quickly. Ooh.
Okay, we have Love, Death, Robot, 3 robots. It's about 3 robots chilling in the apocalypse, and it's really funny. Beyond the Aquila Rift. This one's a really cool episode because they go into hypersleep and they're like, no, we went off course. And they're like, wow, this is so bad. And then they're like, no, you're actually in a dream by some random alien monster who's trying to trick you into falling in love with it.
No, I hate when that happens. That happens to me too much.
This was one of my favorite episodes. There's this woman and she's very scarred because she got attacked. And now she pilots a kaiju monster through as a psychic link, and some mob guy's trying to get her to throw her match, but she refuses to. So she goes, she fights, she takes a ton of beating, but she wins the match, kills the other kaiju. And they go, and then the guy kills the girl, and he's like, you should have thrown the match. But he's like, I never throw matches, because when I was attacked, they couldn't save my body. But they were able to psychically connect me, so she was actually the kaiju the whole time. And the other body was the one that was kind of a robot, and I thought that was a cool twist. When the yogurt took over, so there's some yogurt, and it becomes really smart, and then it leaves humanity.
Good for them.
The Secret War. Some Russians have to fight monsters. That's it. The Witness. Nice. This one is like a time loop, so I like it. So there's this woman, and she witnesses a murder of this guy, and
not this guy.
Was this Rear Window?
And then she goes to try to run away from the guy, but the guy keeps trying to catch up to her. And eventually, they run around the city, and they eventually get back to the main guy's apartment. And they're fighting, and then the girl eventually shoots him. But she looks out the window, and she sees the guy alive, and the body at his feet, and the guy is witnessing her doing the murder.
No way.
So then we can assume that in the intro, it was the guy murdered the girl. So it's like some kind of loop happening between them where they keep somehow murdering each other. But the thing is, it felt like it ended way too soon. I kind of wanted to see them try to talk to each other and try to explain it, but it's like a 15-minute episode. They can't really.
Bro's acting like Steven Universe out here. I want them to talk out why they were killing each other.
You want them to be stuck in a loop of killing each other? Some kind of death loop?
We don't know that they're in there.
For this series, does it is very high tech animation? What is it?
It has a lot of realistic animation. Kind of stuff you'd see in cinematics for video games, but sometimes they'll do 2D approaches. But Yeah,
Does it change with each episode?
It does. It does like a different animation style each episode.
Weird.
I kind of like it's the most comparable to like Black Mirror. But I feel like a lot more like out of place, or like I don't know how to say, like more like unnatural. The next one is called Sucker of Souls, and they have to fight Dracula, and it's kind of boring. The next one is called Suits, and the entire time it feels like, you know, like the Farmville art style? It's like animated like that, and it's about these mech farmers that have to fight off hordes of aliens to protect the farm. And I kept thinking, this sounds like some random indie game that's like releasing on Steam in like 2 months. Like mech farming combined with like horde fighting, it feels like it'd be like a video game, you know?
That just sounds like Clash of Clans.
Yeah, kind of. And that's all the episodes I watched. I'll probably keep watching them because it's a cool series. Now we can get to, should I do House of the Dragon?
Or House of the
Dragon, because I'm playing video games.
Got it.
Aiden, not during the podcast.
No, not. I can do it while someone else is talking about something.
Mac, let's talk about how you watch House of the Dragon Season 1 and how Aemond is the coolest character ever.
Okay, let me tell you something. I was not really like, I was thinking, this is kind of boring so far. Like, it wasn't as good. I was like episode 4 and 5, but then episode 6. Let me tell you the moment I'm like, I got hooked into the show. It's when Aemond steals the dragon, bonds with the dragon, and then loses an eye. I thought, wow, shit's actually happening now. This is cool.
Yeah, no, that's such a great episode where it's like, it's so interesting about like now we're seeing how there's a struggle between like the older generations, but now it's moved on to the younger kids.
Yeah, and they're fighting with each other. Okay, let me just run through the episodes quickly to get caught up to that. Did I talk about episode 4?
Is that the wedding episode? No, that's
no. This one, Daemon comes back and kind of sleeps with Rhaenyra, but also kind of doesn't, and then she sleeps with the night guy. Kristen Cole. That
goes through such a big character change.
Yeah,
and like
that now he like fucking hates Rhaenyra.
He becomes like an incel very quickly.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, and then Daemon kills his wife in the Vale so he can marry the daughter of the sea snake. And then in episode 6, she's trying to give birth, but then she can't, so she decides to have her dragon kill her.
Yeah, there's a lot of childbirths in this season.
There is.
I love childbirth.
The one thing I will say is I kind of grew on it now, but it was very confusing. The jumps from like episode like 5 to 6 and like 4 and 5. Which one is one of them? They have like a giant actor change where like every character gets a recast. 5 to 6.
It's like 10 years later.
Yeah, and then you have like another 10-year time gap, and all the kids have grown up. Like Rhaenyra gets like 2 kids off screen, and they're with a character we haven't met before, and they're not with with her husband. So I was
by the end,
yeah, it was very confusing to follow all like the dynamics of like who's who.
So let me just ask you a few questions, which is probably a better way of how to get like your thoughts on the season. So, okay, Laenor and the Harwin Strong conundrum, that was very big in this season.
Yes. So I think it was cool the way Rhaenyra like kind of killed him, but also like didn't he survived, right?
No,
Yeah.
she planned with him for him to escape.
Yeah.
They did kill a random innocent guy, but
That's okay. We love killing random innocents.
That was cool. And then the guy's son kills him and his brother. That guy is just like fucking psychotic, kind of. He just like randomly kills his father and his brother just because he wants a bit more power.
Yeah.
Like no one even asked him to do it. He was just like, you didn't like these guys. I'm gonna kill them.
He's truly the Peter Baelish of this
he does
show.
feel like the little finger of the show.
Yeah.
And,
we have there's Otto, who's become a pretty interesting character.
Yes.
Or he's like more of a Tywin figure.
He kind of disappears between like 5 and 7. But then he comes back. I feel like the whole season it's built on the whole like the fall of King Viserys.
Mm-hmm. And he does a really good job.
That was really cool.
I
especially liked
the scene, episode 8, the end of episode 8. Episode 8 where he walks across the throne room.
Yeah,
great scene.
Yeah, I the one thing that's crazy to me is how like realistic the effects are. Like I think it's episode 8. Like they literally have a dude cut someone's head off, no cuts, clean through. It was like the CGI on this is crazy. Yeah, and like the way they like half his face missing for Viserys.
Fun fact, that scene was actually real. They actually killed the guy on set for that one.
That's crazy. That's commitment. They should get Christopher Nolan.
They actually, it was a body double. It wasn't the actual guy who he was playing. It was they found a random like guy in a mental hospital that was gonna die anyways, and they just used him.
Cool idea.
But no, it's just like the characters are really interesting once you get like past like the 20 years.
Yeah, once I feel like on a rewatch, I would like this a lot more. That's the same thing that I felt with like season 1 of Game of Thrones. Like I had no idea who the fuck Theon Greyjoy was until like season 2 or 3 because he did like nothing. But like I'd love to like rewatch it now and like see all the characters like now actually like knowing them.
And so one big thing of the season is kind of the split of the relationship between Alicent and Rhaenyra.
Yes.
That's like the big kind of reason for the Dance of the Dragons.
Yeah. And so my whole thing was I hated how so many people were being called Aegon Targaryen. Turns out that came into play with the actual plot. So the King Viserys, he's on his deathbed. He's like, the first guy, Aegon the Conqueror, left a message saying that one of his descendants would unite the realm. And he said, that is Aegon. And then the queen is like, oh, Aegon, your son. But no, he's talking about Jon Snow, Aegon Targaryen, who's 6 generations later. I thought that was a really...
I think he's talking about the Conqueror.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like he's saying like Aegon will be the one to like unite the kingdoms against the White Walkers, and that is what Jon Snow did.
No, actually, that's what
he didn't though, really.
That's what Arya Stark did.
He got everyone except what, Cersei? I consider that uniting the realm.
Nah, you're wrong. But
you're wrong.
But no, I understand what you're saying. But it does play into the conflict now because in episode 8 you do see like Rhaenyra and Alicent kind of the relationship is kind of mended for like a second.
Yeah.
But this just means that she should just continue.
Yeah.
And Kristen Cole just become a super villain in the last few episodes.
Yeah. So basically, in episode 9, the king died at the end of the last episode, and now I thought it was really cool how they say, in his death, he's like Aegon, and then the queen's like, okay, guys, this might be a hard decision, but I think we're gonna have to name Aegon. And they're like, yeah, okay, all the planning's already done. We have this whole 5-step plan laid out. And they're like, you were planning on betraying her the entire time? And they're like, yes, we were.
Yeah, because Otto just is like so power hungry, you know?
Yeah. And I do think it's like an interesting conflict or like this time when it's like Rhaenyra
Where it's
is
not-
the closest heir, kind of like eldest heir. So
She's a woman.
Yeah, but she's a woman.
Ooh, hit
the
those,
people,
right?
so the people won't accept her, is what they're saying. So there's this big conflict between who should rule, the firstborn son or the firstborn daughter. And that was basically the main conflict that was introduced in the first scene, where it's the
Viserys and Rhaenys.
Yeah, Viserys and Rhaenys, and the king chose Viserys.
And
yeah, and
Daemon's also a great character. He's a really
Daemon is
character.
cool. So the whole thing,
He's like
yeah,
Aemon is like kind of like a Walmart ripoff version of Daemon, where it's like he really wants to be like him, you know?
yeah,
'Cause, you know, they even have like the same kind of name, just move the D and put it to the end.
yeah. So many of the names sound similar. That's also hard. And like, there's now like a baby Viserys on Rhaenyra's side. Like, they literally recycle like the same 4 names for like every child.
Well, she named Viserys after her father.
I understand, but it still makes it confusing.
Because when you say that you like Viserys, you can't. Do you mean the baby or the guy that's dead?
In Game of Thrones, who's like a bad guy who like gets killed.
Back. I'm gonna say this because if you look at the entire family Targaryen tree, they kind of recycle the same 3 or 4 names, but they also have like a bunch of like AE names, which is a big thing. Yeah, I can't wait for down the line where you meet Duncan Targaryen.
Yeah. So one thing I do want to ask Uri, let me finish the season and then I'll ask you. So the whole thing is like they're trying to get ready because now they're going to war because the Hightowers have basically stolen the throne from Rhaenyra, and they're like, we need to go to war. They changed the succession. So they're getting ready for war.
Rhaenyra's really pissed.
Rhaenyra's really pissed. She loses a child in childbirth.
No.
There's like so much childbirth in this show. You were saying that already, but it is crazy how much.
Well, it's good that you like childbirth.
I do not. Okay.
You love it.
But then she's like, okay, we need to get the support of all the different kingdoms on our side. So she sends one of her kids to Winterfell from Game of Thrones and one of them to Storm's End from
Baratheon.
Yep. And
Baratheons and the Targaryens are actually... Baratheons come from Targaryen line.
So, what's his... I forget which brother. It's not Lucerys, it's the other one.
Lucerys.
Right? Lucerys is the one. So Lucerys goes to Storm's End, and he's like going to ask for support, but Aemon's already there, and Lucerys is the guy who took his eye. So there's big conflict between the two of them, and now they're at war, and Aemon's like, cut your eye out. I need revenge. But he refuses to, and so Lucerys tries running away, but Aemon has like a dragon 10 times his size. It's kind of
the biggest dragon in Westeros right now, as of the moment.
So they're like trying to like fight each other, but then Lucerys...
Well, no, they're not trying to fight each other. Lucerys is just trying to get the fuck out.
Yeah, Lucerys is getting out, and Aemon's kind of toying with him, like bullying him. But then Lucerys' dragon accidentally breathes fire on Aemon's dragon, and Aemon's dragon gets pissed. And then Lucerys flies above the clouds. He's free. But then Aemon's dragon comes in, fucking bites the dragon in half, kills Lucerys, and that ends the season.
But you can really tell because in the books, because the book is essentially written, Fire and Blood is written from like a what if a maester within the universe wrote a history about Fire and Blood. So he takes like sources from different like people, and so we only have like evidence of what like I guess common people saw from the sky happen in the sky. So we don't really know the exact details, which is why in the book, Laenor is still written as kind of like dead, but we know he's alive. So the show is kind of representing like a more real version of what events. And we can tell that Aemon clearly did not want to kill Lucerys, and he told his dragon no.
Yeah. I mean...
He just wanted to mess around. And so you can see in his face that he did not want to do this. And so it kind of just proves that even that Targaryens are the only ones who can ride dragons, they cannot control the dragons.
Yeah. So that's like the big thing that ends off season 1. And Uri, I do want to ask a question about the book Fire and Blood. is how much does it like adapt? Like, how far are we in the book after like season 1?
I would say like maybe because Fire and Blood is a pretty big. The Dance of Dragons is a really big event. So
Yeah.
probably like maybe I'm gonna say halfway or something.
Yeah, but
Because like
do you think they're gonna
we have
end
the
it?
full story.
Do you think we're gonna end it like where they ended the book, or do you think we're gonna go past that?
Because here's something that's really interesting about the book, for example, is that so we have the full Targaryen history from Aegon the Conqueror to the Mad King and Robert's Rebellion, right?
Yeah.
And so halfway between that kind of point is another king, but and this king is like a little bit after the Dance of Dragons,
Yeah.
and so the first book only covers that, and we don't have like a second book for the other half of the Targaryen history. So I assume the way they're going to end it is like maybe going to deal with the aftermath of what happens after the Dance of Dragons.
The Dance of the Dragons is a fire name, I will say. Because it's like, yeah.
Yeah. But and so I assume it's been said it's going to probably be like 4 seasons to properly cover the whole event.
Got it.
And we're seeing that. Where but this Aemond killing Lucerys is what really starts off the whole
Yeah, because
war.
like originally Rhaenyra was like, I'm not sure if I want to go to war. I don't want to plunge the realm into chaos. But then once someone kills her son, she changes her mind.
And because I don't know if you like watched like after into the episode after the shows air, but the actress for Rhaenyra, they said something really interesting about how Rhaenyra, she thinks she may knows grief by her like mother dying or father dying or like unborn child dying, but she knows nothing about grief because Lucerys is like a child that she's had for a while. Because like
she killed people's sons before, like, but like she doesn't know what it feels like, you know.
And so now she feels like the full trauma, and this is going to start off the bunch of counterattacks that lead to an attack. This attack is what leads to another attack, to leads to counterattacks, and how it all kinds of becomes a chaotic
kind of like
dance of
a
dragons.
son for a son.
Yeah, so let's hear about what the Blacks do in retaliation.
I feel like you should tell this, Uri.
Okay, so we come back. It's season 2, and Rhaenyra is just kind of first off being kind of very depressed and grieving after her son Lucerys died, and they do this really interesting thing where they go find like she's not going to admit until she actually sees the body, and we never actually see the body of Lucerys, but we see his like dead dragon's wings. And something that's really interesting is that Rhaenyra's dragon cries because Lucerys' dragon was Rhaenyra's dragon's son.
Oh.
So it kind of reflects both of that. And so they have like a funeral for Lucerys, and Daemon's just kind of being kind of prickly.
Daemon just wants to kill all of them now.
He just wants revenge, and he does this really interesting thing where it's how we kind of end the episode, where infamously the fans have been waiting for this the entire kind of like show so far as of now, where there's this really big event in the book which is called
Blood and Cheese.
Blood and cheese. I love cheese.
It's called cheese because it's a rat hunter.
And Blood, I don't know why they call him Blood, but he's known. They're lost to the histories as Blood and Cheese, where essentially Daemon does this on his own, where he sneaks into King's Landing.
No, because Rhaenyra says to him, "I need Aemond dead," right? I want the head of Aemond.
Yeah, and something that's interesting. Yeah, where he finds a rat hunter who works in the Red Keep and a city's watch guard. He tells them, "A son for a son, get Aemon Targaryen." And like, so you're thinking, okay, they're gonna get Aemon Targaryen, but in the books, it's something very more interesting where it's all like he doesn't specifically say Aemon Targaryen. He just says a son for a son. He doesn't specify who. But which kind of leads to this next point where they're going through the Red Keep, and they're thinking they go to this room and they find the queen there, Helena Targaryen, and she has 2 sons. She has 2 children with her brother Aegon, who's the king.
It's a son and a daughter, right?
A son and a daughter.
Yeah.
In the books, they cut out a son out of the show, but they essentially like they asked Helena which one is the son because they need to like get rid of the son, right? And these are children, guys.
These are like babies.
Children,
They're in cribs.
And she's like, "No, you take my necklace." And she's like, she doesn't really know what to do, and and she's like, "Oh, there's no guards or anything like that. There is only like I guess like a seamstress or something who she's like says, oh, we're just rat catching," but essentially Helena finally relents and she says that's her son, and they go to her son and she picks up her daughter and she runs away, and we hear how they're brutally
cut the head
chopping
off.
Like cut the head off. And then she goes to her like mother Allison to like try to get some help, but she's just fucking Kristen Cole and they're having sex.
Oh yeah.
Which is something that is very hypocritical of Allison to say that, because she blamed Allison for having kind of sex with Kristen Cole when she's doing it herself too.
Yeah.
And Kristen Cole is also one of the worst Kingsguard ever because a rule that is when you're a Kingsguard, you cannot have sex,
He is
eat lands or anything like that. And he's broken multiple times.
Yeah.
Bro loves breaking rules.
And
but
and she says they killed the boy, and that's how episode 1 of season 2 ends.
I'm very excited to see where it goes. I felt this was a lot better hook than season 1 had.
And it was even worse in the books. I would say I think they did like a proper event because like the book has always been a little more tame than the show has been a little bit more tame than the books in some aspects, but still a really good faithful adaptation. And we, unlike Game of Thrones, we have the full story here.
Yeah.
Bro.
I mean, it also, I am kind of worried because when you have the whole story already out, I don't want like it kind of to get spoiled for me, you know?
Yeah.
Even though
I know the whole story about how it ends.
I don't know how it ends, so
let me tell you, Beck. It
do not fucking tell me, bro.
Beck,
Dude, it'd be funny.
Here's what I tell you:
if the Greens
ends on the throne.
If the Greens or the Blacks wins,
they did do that whole marketing push of like Team Green versus Team Black, but it is like Rhaenyra is technically the rightful heir, but would she make a good queen? I'm not sure.
we don't know.
She has murdered a lot of people.
She is also a woman. You gotta keep that in mind in terms of the show.
They have kind of made it seem that like in the books it's a bit more nuanced, but in the show it's kind of more seems like Blacks is more the good side, Greens is more bad side.
Yeah.
Except there's Daemon, who's a bit more villainous on both sides. My thing is, I wonder, because I don't remember what happens exactly after this, but there's probably going to be some hell to pay for killing the king's son.
Yeah. Because he's the heir to the Iron Throne now, technically.
Yeah.
And
so this is just going to lead to a lot more attacks and counterattacks. It's going to be so brutal.
It is. Okay.
We're in for a really good season.
We have
before we get to
things left, I believe.
Before we get into the boys season, the latest episode, I want to talk about this because it was just announced that it's related to the Game of Thrones spinoff, where they're making another Game of Thrones spinoff show. It takes place 72 years after House of the Dragon, around that.
So like Bran could still be alive.
No, he's gonna time travel back, Aiden. Don't worry.
And then 100 years before Game of Thrones. So we're in like that kind of era right there.
And we're following the ancestors of Brienne Tarth.
Brienne Tarth and Daenerys Targaryen. Her great grandpa. And so there's a book series that George has made. Like he was like a bunch of short novellas.
Dude, I swear this dude will write anything except the main plot of Game of Thrones. He has so many spin-offs, bro.
Hey, no, he did write. He wrote this concurrently with the series, and he wrote them like the first few. There's only 3 Duncan Egg novellas, but essentially we follow Duncan the Tall, an egg, Aegon Targaryen, and we follow them as like because like Duncan Egg is like more of like it's still in the world of Game of Thrones and there's still murder, but it's about more about chivalry and how like what it takes to be a good knight and a good man. Where we see Egg is kind of like more of a kind or Targaryen than other Targaryens, and so we saw our first promo for the show. It's pretty exciting. It's only 6 episodes the first season. It's going to cover the first book, which is like a small novella, and that's pretty exciting because like we still get to see the era of Game of Thrones, but like in I guess a more kinder light.
Yeah.
And I just want to talk about that because I'm excited for that because like I've been hyped for that show for a while, and we're obviously getting the Aegon Conquest show. That's probably gonna come.
I feel like that'll be. It's like maybe the most important plot, like time period in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. But, very, very exciting stuff. David Zaslav really he highlighted this that he really wants to make franchises, and this is one of the big franchises.
Yeah. It is really funny to me how they're only doing prequels and no sequel series because everyone hates that fucking ending.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't care that much about the main series. I care more about the prequels.
Yeah. The problem for me with prequels is you just know how it ends already, and it kind of just funnels everything down one path, you know?
But there's so large times of periods apart that the story ends. There's so many stories that end.
Okay, yeah, but like in House of Dragon, we know a Targaryen ends on the throne. What if like a Hightower ended on the throne? That'd be cool. Yeah. So
let's talk about the boys.
3 things left. We got Smiling Friends, The Boys, and Robot Dreams. Yeah. I think each of those has 2 people. It is a triangle of each of those has 2.
And then I have 3 shows to talk about also.
Okay, let's do Aiden shows and then we can do the group ones.
Let's do 8 shows. Okay, so Craig of the Creek, a new episode came out. He went to Toman's house.
Let's go.
Toman,
my man.
So he goes to Toman's house, and nothing happens because it's the sleepover episode, and nothing happens. But they hung out, so that was pretty cool. Then the next episode of My Adventures with Superman. Superman is one of Metro City's most eligible bachelors. He is considered for one of 5 characters, or one of 5 people in the city to be an eligible bachelor. And Lois is like, okay, Clark, when you go on that show, you gotta make sure that you act like an eligible bachelor and make sure that you do not imply that me and you are a couple, or else people might figure out that me and you are a couple and that we are together and that you are Clark. That would be bad. So do not imply that you like me and pretend that you are an eligible bachelor. And then Jimmy also finds Supergirl, but that's lame. So Jimmy hangs out with Supergirl for the whole episode, and they eat ice cream, and Superman is an eligible bachelor. And Lois is like, oh my God, he's flirting with this other woman like I told him to. So,
this is so sad.
Lois sounds like he sucks in this show.
And then this other reporter lady is like, Lois, you'll never be in love with Superman. He'll never be in love with you because you're just a dumb reporter, bitch. Okay? He's never gonna love you, Superman. You fucking idiot. And she's like, wow. You know what, Clark? I'm gonna dump you because I'm gonna dump you, Clark. And Clark is like, yo, what the heck, Lois? And then Supergirl comes through and she's like, Superman, your world sucks, except for Jimmy. He's cool. I'm gonna kill you. And he's like, no, Clark, do this. And they fight and they go. And then she defeats him and takes him back to somewhere. And then he gets taken off planet, and Lois and Jimmy are like, oh no! Yeah, so Lois made me really mad in this episode because she dumped Superman for no reason other than the reason that she told him to do the thing, and then he did it, and then she got mad. But I don't know. Pretty good.
Well, what's the weather in Philadelphia?
Wait, we forgot to do the weather anyway.
Yeah, we did forget to do the weather.
We've never forgotten the weather at all. That's the whole thing about the Celsius podcast. We have never forgotten the weather.
It's 67 right now. All right. Last time on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I was in season 15, and I said, you know what? This season so far is really weak. And then I watched the next episode, and I was like, wow, never mind. This season has gotten a lot better. So what changed? They made a black and white noir episode. And then they just had a couple other episodes that were pretty funny. But season 14, pretty mediocre. Season 15, super topical episode talking about backlash, episode that takes place in the 90s, one where they replace D with a monkey and there's a bad CGI monkey. And then they go to Ireland for 4 episodes. And that whole arc is hilarious. Matt thinks he isn't Irish. Charlie finds his dad. Matt goes to church and tries to become a priest, but then he finds that priests are pedophiles, so then he leaves. D gets stuck in a bog. Dennis gets COVID, goes insane, and tries to kill D. Then they carry Charlie's dad's corpse up a mountain because he died of COVID because of Dennis, because of Frank. Great episodes. They were hilarious. Frank reveals that his Wolf soda, was the main drink of Epstein Island. But only 5%. Okay, only 5% of it was the kid diddling stuff. The rest was just normal stuff, and and it's very funny. They
Is this make where they make the song about how they don't diddle kids?
That's so much earlier, and also there's 2 of them. Which one are you talking about?
My bad. I didn't know there were 2 of them.
Yeah, there's 2 of them actually. But the Ireland arc, very funny. They're an Irish pub, so it makes sense to go to Ireland. Very good. Then season 16, very solid. Kind of goes back to its roots. It has kind of like typical-ish episodes, but they're very funny still. One where Dennis and Matt get an inflatable couch, and then they start selling inflatable things. Frank shoots everybody. He now has officially shot every character. The gang gets cursed. This one's just funny. D is paralyzed. Dennis can't think of words. And Frank's egg is bloody. Frank versus Russia. They do a Rocky IV parody, but also chess anal bead parody. Very fun.
So this is like recent seasons.
Yes. Yeah. This is season. Yeah.
This is like recent season, or is there one more?
No, this is the most recent season. Episode 5, the Bryan Cranston, Aaron Paul season episode.
The Breaking Bad episode.
No, not the Breaking Bad episode. They
in the middle episode.
Paul, Bryan Cranston, the dad from Malcolm in the Middle, and Aaron Paul, Malcolm from Malcolm in the Middle, but he's grown up, and that's very funny. They play themselves, and they're just very funny. It's like implied that Aaron Paul is like super controlling of Bryan Cranston, and he's the evil mastermind. But then Bryan Cranston's like, no, I'm the evil mastermind by being a stupid fucking idiot. It's called acting, bitch. Episode 6, they go to Chuck E. Cheese. Episode 7, they go bowling, and we get a lot of characters we haven't seen since like season 7. Or not season 7, like season or whatever the Thanksgiving episode is, where they all burn in the house. So we see like the McPoyles and Artemis and Gail the Snail, who we haven't seen in a long time. And then Dennis takes a mental health day. Solid episode, very funny. I like how the whole thing is kind of in his head. I like the scene where he rips the guy's heart out and then eats it. Very cool. And then that was the show, and I finished it, and now I just wait for season 17. Very good show.
Okay.
Nice.
So you're over. You're done.
I'm done. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Right
no,
now,
the spin-offs.
No, not the spin-offs. The band episodes. We're going to put them in a tier list.
All the
It's
ones
make a tier list of each season.
How bad was the blackface in each of these episodes?
That's what we're gonna rank them based on. So there are 5 banned episodes of It's Always Sunny. All of the episodes are banned for one reason, and that is the use of blackface. Blackface is not good. It was kind of funny in these episodes, though. So
yeah, the Community one was also pretty funny.
So we're gonna rank them based on their usage of it. Number 1 is D-Day. They do it, but they don't do it for very long, and they don't really do anything with it. So that one's at the bottom. That next episode is going to be America's Next Top Patty's Billboard Model Contest. We are introduced to the character of Martina Martinez. Oh wait, and then it's just a racist Latino woman caricature,
and she does blackface.
And yeah, she does. She does. And you could probably mix these around. Doesn't really matter.
So how are these like watchable, or did he like pirate them?
Oh, I pirated them. Yeah, you would have to like buy them or buy a whole season from like Apple TV or something to actually watch them. Then these two you could probably flip around because they are like the same kind of reason in blackface is Gang makes Lethal Weapon 6 and D. Reynolds Shaping America's Youth. They do Lethal Weapon 5 and 6. They like make their own versions of it, and Mac does blackface to play the main guy in Lethal Weapon.
Damn.
This one is not like a high use of blackface, but the best episode, and I do want to go into it because it's a really good episode, and it's very sad that this one's banned. It is called "The Gang Recycles Their Trash," and this
sounds like a very wholesome episode.
Yeah,
calls back to like a bunch of different old episodes. Like it starts in the same way a season 2 episode did, and then it had lines from like a season 3 episode, and then it takes the plot of the gang selling gas, but instead of selling gas, they're recycling. And they use a bit like the group dynamic bit over and over again, like from the other episode. And they drive a van, and Charlie jumps out of the van. And he says, "Wild card, bitches!" And he jumps in the van. And they do a lot of stuff from the selling gas episode, and it's just like very funny. It's a really good episode. And then they do Martina Martinez again, and D says so that's where the blackface comes in. Great episode. It was hilarious.
All right.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great. So now you're done with the show. You should do a video where you tier list
every episode, all 16 seasons.
I could probably tell you my like top episodes though.
We will save that for your own video, Aiden.
Say I think it's like A Nightman Cometh, Charlie Work.
That one where they all get cursed.
No, and in the season 12 premiere episode where it's a musical. Very good.
All right, but Aiden, what's the final show you have to talk about?
That was 3.
Friends.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
let's talk about The Boys for a second.
The Boys, guys.
This was a crazy episode.
It was a good episode. I think it was mainly like 3 plot lines following.
Yeah, and so many story beats happen in this episode for very interesting. So let's just break out the big things. Homelander doesn't do much in this episode, but what he does do is not very impactful for the plot of the show, but it's really kind of a look into his character.
Yeah, it's like a backstory episode for him.
Or it's like we don't see any backstory, but we see kind of like hear about his backstory. So
yeah,
essentially, I'll tell you. So in the end of episode 3 is all like his mirror versions of himself say, "You gotta go back, John, to your past." And so he finally
gotta go back to the first Thanksgiving to stop turkey from being on the menu.
I'm gonna mute Beck for saying that, and I'll just continue. So he goes back to his past, and it's like everyone in that room is fucking terrified of him. but he's like, he's bringing his weird, crazy Homelander
He
stuff.
brought
and
a
he's like,
cake, Uri. That was very nice
he
of
brought
him.
he brought a cake that says "Home Sweet Home,"
Because he's Homelander, Uri. The
and
joke
this
is
is his home, and this is his home.
Oh, he's Homelander. Oh.
And essentially, he's all like, this episode just basically why you could think The Boys is a fucking horror show, because it's like a horror movie in there. It's everyone is just so scared of him and what he'll do, and like he's just like
and you don't know like who he's gonna kill.
And they definitely know he's gonna probably try to hurt them, and they're just trying to survive. But the main two things he does, which is very psychotic, where he's all like, in this chamber, he goes to the guy. In this chamber, you were testing to see how hot I could get without burning my skin off. And but it fucking hurt. No matter how much you turn up, it might not affect me, but it hurt. But then I saw you just throwing in paper balls into a wastebasket. And then he says, "Let's play some waste paper basketball." And the guy's like, "Okay." And they kind of slowly play, but then he says, "Get in the heat chamber." And then the guy's like, "No." And then Homelander says, "Do it, or I'll put your family in there with you." And the guy reluctantly does it. And when he turns up the heat, the guy burns his skin off, and he tries to touch the window, and his hand like burns off. It's a brutal scene.
It is.
And he's all like, and then he throws the paper into the trash can, and misses, like, "Oh, I bet you would have gotten that shot." So it's just him kind of like, we're getting to see how the psyche of how these kind of laboratory workers kind of like completely messed up his life and treated him like he was inhuman, even though he is a superhero, but they treated him like terrible. And we get to see how like the kind of idea of how well, what is it? Sort of like this idea of how, like, kind of relates to how like Nazis just say, they were just doing their jobs, and like
Yeah.
these workers were just doing their jobs. It's like, like that you may use that as justification for why you did it, but you did terrible things to this child. And now I'm gonna be honest, Homelander, you kind of expect to come back bite you back in the ass for that. And Homelander is your product because you made him into this way. And so the next torture he does, he's all like, you know, another guy, he called me Squirt, right? You know why he called me Squirt? And he says,
Because he squirted.
I don't know. It's because you caught me one time masturbating and said, "Hey, Squirt." And so then he tells the guy to jerk off in front of everyone. And so it's all like, "Do it, or I'll blow your dick off." And so he's just doing that. It's such a painful ass scene to watch, where the guy is just trying to get himself to come, but Homelander is just laughing maniacally. And this laugh, guys, is why Anthony Starr should win a fucking Emmy for this character.
Yeah.
It's an insane scene where the guy's just begging and he's just jerking off, but he can't do it. And then he lasers his dick off, and it's insane. And then he's just crying out in pain. But finally, a woman comes in, and she seems like she's not really afraid of Homelander that much, and she can kind of control him in a weird way. She says, "Take him out of his misery," and then he crushes his head. And then she says, "You know why you are this way? It's because we brought a bunch of it." This is like the backstory we get for Homelander, which I get why they put it in. I don't think it was that necessary to put it. Like we brought in specific psychologists
to like
to make sure
program
he
your
was human.
sense of love, like that he
Yeah, and
needs
so
the admiration.
While that was interesting, I'm gonna say I feel like it wasn't that necessary, because we can just understand he is that way because, like, he's a human. Even though he's a superhero, he was a human.
Yeah.
He is human. So he just has that need for attention and love that every human has. But it was interesting. And then he says to her, "You know why they call this the bad room? The room where they kept him in?" And then he says, "I'll show you." And then next part we cut to him, and he's in an elevator full with blood, and we cut to the bathroom, and it's like filled with all the employees' guts except for this lady, Barbara. She's just looking in horror.
And
at
she's
it.
locked in.
And it's an insane scene, insane episode. My question is, okay, what is this going to do for Homelander's mental health? How is this going to help him?
I feel like he's gonna like go out. He's gonna be a different person. He's gonna be a lot nicer to everyone. You know.
He's gonna be nicer to his son.
He's gonna go and revive everyone he's ever killed.
Yeah.
Using the power of alchemy.
But no, it's just like you definitely understand the idea why he thinks it would help him because he's confronting his past. But it's in reality how would that help him at all? Just killing a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And it's here, but you can talk about the other story beats.
The other arc is you have Firecracker, who we had introduced in the previous episodes, and she's hosting this big 6-hour news show outside of Starlight's foundation. They're trying to get everyone turning against her, and then we end with this big reveal that Starlight had an abortion, and that Firecracker got that information, released it publicly, and then Starlight is so mad that she flies on stage and beats Firecracker in front of all the cameras. So now Starlight's lost all her public support, which is
why I think I understand why they brought Firecracker. It's to get Starlight pissed.
Yes.
That's the use of her purpose.
But there's another really cool Starlight scene where it's okay, we need some dirt on Firecracker because we can blackmail her to figure out plans. So Butcher finds information that Firecracker slept with a 15-year-old. Oh, yeah. So, and then
the Aiden Shoemaker method.
Huh?
Huh? And then Butcher's like, if you don't do what we say, I'm gonna post this. I'm gonna press the tweet button here. And then Firecracker's like, you know what? And he presses the tweet button for him.
And then she announces what she did on the news show.
But he's like, guys, it was actually a good thing that I slept with that 15-year-old because it set me on the right world path. And
which is such a sharp social commentary in that aspect. It was how people on that kind of side of the spectrum of politics inside, if they announce it and say it just brings them closer to some sort of salvation, people just immediately will accept it. But when there's an abortion or something like that, they won't accept it at all.
Yeah. Frenchie's boyfriend finds out that he killed his entire family. And then they fight about that. Huey wants to give his dad Compound V to save him, so he bonds with A-Train over that, and they are finally chill after, he killed his girlfriend in the first episode. And
4
then
seasons.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna revive his dad, but he decides not to. But then he comes back in, and it seems like something's the mom probably.
The mom,
seems like
yeah.
the mom. So Huey wants to put the Compound V for his dad, so his dad could be revived. But then he decides not to do it, and then he comes back, and it seems like there is Compound V in the dad's IV thing. And then the episode ends off with his dad's eyes waking up, and presumably the mom did it. But I think it's probably just gonna make his dad into a zombie or something, and they're gonna have to take him out.
Maybe.
That's my theory.
One thing I also forgot to mention is Butcher. He gets caught in Firecracker's trailer with some priest guy, and he's getting choked out. But then
in the first season.
Yeah, he was. But then he blacks out and wakes up, and then he's dead. And we cut to I think a scene earlier or later. I think it's later, where Butcher's like, I tried injecting myself with Compound V, but it didn't work. But we also have seen this little worm crawling around his body a lot. So I think he actually does maybe have some powers, kind of.
We don't know, because it kind of did a Moon Knight kind of cut, where it's it cuts. It was a big pressure bringing up, and then cut to black, and then he wakes up, getting the Ezekiel killed.
Yeah.
And it was a really exciting episode. Beck's not doing justice with his
Yeah.
But It was just a fun, great episode. I'm really excited for how this is season's gonna turn out. It seems like everything's really ramping up, and yeah.
Yep. Okay, Smiling Friends or Robot Dreams?
You can do Smiling Friends.
All right, Smiling Friends.
Nice. So it was, what happened? Mr. Boss was like,
Tyler got fired. Very
not
sad.
Tyler, dude. I love Tyler.
Uri
He's my
really
favorite
loved
character.
Tyler. It was very sad.
I did love Tyler.
I really loved Tyler.
But then Pim and the boss have to go to Spamtopia to get a rare gem. And
you talk about the A plot. Talk about the B plot.
So they go and they're like, there's the one rule of Spamtopia, never look anyone in their eye. And Pim's like coming along because he actually knows how to speak Spanish because he had a pen pal. Yeah. And then they go and they are like sitting in the diner. I like the way it's animated. It's very uncanny and very off-putting. So they dock, and then Pim, they go to the deal, and the guy has like a big eye, and Pim trying not to look at it, and a mosquito lands on the guy's eye, starts sucking the blood out of it, and then Pim goes and looks at it, and then the main guy's like fucking pissed because, he looked in the eye, and they're like, I sentence you to death. And they go to the stops for the...
It was actually the prince of Spamtopia.
Yes, and he was Pim's pen pal, and they're like, wow, Pim, it's good to see you. You can have the gem as a gift. And then they go driving off, and I forget what happens, but the entire world starts falling apart into flashing lights.
Because he says, oh, we'll remove the rule where you can't look at my eye.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll remove all rules. And then they remove all rules.
Seizure warning stuff happens, and then a crazy waitress lady chases after them. Keep in mind, I'm watching this Monday morning right after I wake up because the new episode had come out. I was half awake, and I thought I was having a seizure when this episode was ending.
I was having a seizure, though.
What happens in the B plot?
All right. So Charlie and Alan and Glup are in charge of watching the boss's 18-year-old son, and Charlie's like, you know, Alan, you ate my nose one time, and Alan's like, I'm sorry, Charlie, I don't remember that happening. And Charlie's like, come on, man, come on, that's why I'm bringing it up. I don't want it to happen again. And then Mr. Boss's son dies. And then that's all that happens in the B plot. So then they come back and they're like, guys, and Charlie's like, Mr. Boss, I can't say it. Alan, you gotta do it. Alan's like, your child is dead. And Mr. Boss is like, no, my child. And he brings the red ruby and he hovers it over the dead child. And it comes back to life. And they're like, whoa, he came back to life. And then the room gets covered in dust. And then they all almost die and dead. Pretty cool episode.
Nice.
Yeah.
But let's get into the big movie of the episode. We've been teasing it a lot. But what did you and Uri go see this week?
All right, let's tell the story. Let's tell the story, Uri. So this movie is very, very positively
best animated feature nominee last year
at the Oscars, and they finally released it in America, but there's no showings near me and Uri. Only one in San Francisco.
I don't know what they call San Francisco, but it's something probably.
The pie in the skyland. No, that's just California. Yeah, the Golden Skate is also just California.
Well, San Francisco is in California, Aiden, so checkmate.
True. So they, as in me and Uri, because I'm not telling a plot of a movie yet. We go on the train. We go on the choo-choo train at 9 a.m, and we take the train all the way to San Francisco. We get off the train, and the theater is in walking distance. And it was where our prom was. It was the Metreon back where Tom was.
I remember walking up and seeing the posters
for
the AMC.
So and that was cool.
And they gave a poster for a Robot Dreams. They were like, I might not watch that in 2 years.
Oh my god, no! I wanted to go, but I was traveling this week, so I couldn't.
You shouldn't have been traveling. Anyways,
yeah, it was literally Friday night. I was leaving Saturday morning. I'm like, wow, we're buying tickets. I should check the show times for Robot Dreams, and they had one.
Yeah, and so we walked around San Francisco for a little bit. We went to the Salesforce Tower and saw it, and
we went to Phil's.
And we went to Phil's, and Lucas spent a lot of money, and then we went back to the movie to go into the movie, and it was kind of confusing to get in there. And then we got in there.
Not the most full theater of all time.
Not the most full theater, but we will say AMC is a really good theater. That one, the Metreon. Like, just like aesthetically, a really, really good theater.
Yeah, from the photos I saw, it looked cool with like all the posters and stuff.
Damn. Yeah. Were you just longing while we were watching the movie?
Sitting on my phone, just like scrolling through the timeline with you guys I was eagerly waiting your reviews when I saw you guys were seeing it.
Yeah, it was but the theater was really cool. They had a Blossom cup.
Yeah, they had a Blossom cup that Aiden could not get.
You couldn't get it?
Well, I probably could have, but Uri was like, what if you just didn't? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And so then I didn't.
But Aiden, let's explain the movie for us.
Beck, are you okay with this?
I am okay with this. I've come to terms with it.
Okay, so this movie, Robot Dreams, is about this dog, and he gets this robot friend, and he's like, wow, I got a robot friend because I'm so alone, so I bought this robot, and now I'm friends with the robot. And they skate together, and they make out together.
Beck, no, it's a silent movie. It's a silent movie.
Silent movie.
The entire time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not silent. The dog grunts and stuff.
There's like noises, but no talking at all. It's also a Spanish movie. Not like it's a Spanish like people who made it, like a Spanish studio.
Yeah, it also very important. Takes place in New York in the 80s.
The only
has the Twin Towers in it, and it makes you laugh every
saying is that the Twin Towers kept showing up.
Every establishing shot they were in.
Back there's Twin Towers in like a lot of this movie, so you need to know it's before 2001 in the 80s.
Yep. But they hang out together, they skate together, they listen to Earth, Wind & Fire together, but only one song, and you are going to hear this song
a lot,
way more times than you really need to hear it.
Of September.
So like, remember how many times they did the Kiss song in Fall Guys? Yeah, remember how many times they did it then? Yeah, so they do at least triple that.
21 times?
At least, because it's the only song Robot knows.
Yeah,
I mean that's like a fun character trait.
They're at the beach, and water gets into the robot, and he can't move.
So Dog has to leave him at the beach because he's too weak to lift him up, and he comes to get him the next day with his tools and robot supplies. But then the beach is closed. It's closed for the off season, so he has to wait a full year before he can get the robot.
You can't climb over the fence.
There's barbed wire on the fence. It's also like 10 feet, 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
Easy for Beck, though.
Easy for Beck, because Beck is 17 feet tall. So he has to wait. And so then the movie isn't actually them hanging out together. It's actually just their perspective of like living life without being with each other. The robots is way more interesting, despite the fact that he's just stuck laying on a beach. The dog just like goes through life. Basically, he like has a Halloween where he thinks the robot is there, but then it's not, and he meets a duck girl, but then the duck girl moves to New England or something,
no.
And then
goes to Europe.
And
Europe is already New England.
The dog doesn't do like anything cool, right?
Not really. I mean, he just other than like I guess the end of the movie where he gets like the thing.
Yeah, well, we're there later. But like nothing cool happens with him. Robot, on the other hand, this is why the movie is called Robot Dreams, because he imagines that he's going back home to hang out with Dog. So first one is there's these like, well, this actually happens. These rowers, like their boat has a hole in it, and so they have to wash ashore on the beach, and they find the robot, and they save the robot, and he like gets oiled up, and then he jumps over the barbed wire and goes home. But Dog, he isn't there. He won't answer the door, and so he just keeps hearing the pounding. This robot, he keeps hearing a pounding coming from somewhere, and then he wakes up, and the people that washed ashore actually are chopping his leg off.
Oh my god!
And they chop his leg off and take his foot and put it in the hole in the boat, and then they go away. And now Robot's still just lying there, but he has no leg. Wheezy. Next dream. Robot, it starts snowing, and he's like, wow, snow, it's snowing. Wow. And then he gets covered in snow. He can't see anymore. And I took a picture of this one because this scene was awesome, and I also had to wake Uri up because he fell asleep.
You fell asleep?
For this part of the movie.
Oh my god, Uri.
I had to wake up at 8 in the morning.
That's not that. I woke up at 6 a.m. today. Do you see how awake I am right now?
You were yawning before, Beck.
The robot crawls out from beneath the screen. He crawls off the frame.
I did remember this. Yeah.
And then he flips the screen, and then he's in the Wizard of Oz. Very much likes. And then they do a Wizard of Oz sequence where he goes to New York. Wizard of Oz. You see the Twin Towers and the Emerald City, and then Dog isn't there and is very sad. Mm-hmm. And then a bunch of birds come and hang out and live with him. This one actually happens. There's just a bunch of birds that hang out and live with him, and it's very cute and very cool. And then the last one, this guy that he metal detector man on the beach comes and takes the robot. Oh no. Yeah, metal detector man comes to the beach and takes the robot, and he brings them to the dump, and then he explodes at the dump and dies.
No.
Yeah, until this guy named Rascal comes in, and he's a raccoon. He's a raccoon, and he takes robot's parts from the dump and rebuilds him into a better robot. Gives him a gold leg. His body's a boombox, and he's awesome. And the Dog, on the other hand, he goes to the beach, and Robot isn't there, and he's like, "Fuck, dude, Robot's not here. I'm so sad. I'm just gonna get another robot." And he gets another robot, and he's happy with this robot now. And he's happy with that robot, and Robot is happy with Rascal, and they're both living their lives. And Robot's standing by a window, and he's playing September, and he sees Dog down on the street dancing, and they both do the dance that they do at the beginning of the.
He chases after him. He chases after him.
He chases after him, but it was actually a dream the whole time from his perspective. And then Dog has one from his perspective that they both meet each other, but they don't. And they just are both with their new lives, and the movie ends.
Yeah, cool. I think this movie is a really great metaphor for kind of relationships and kind of I guess breaking up and splitting apart, how you grow separately and stuff like that. It's a really great metaphor for that type of relationships, and it was really fun and beautiful. Good animation. I really enjoyed it.
I do wish that that they actually had a real conversation or a real interaction after they because they haven't seen each other since the day at the beach, and they don't feel close. They just have to move on rather than closure. And I kind of wanted to see the closure, but...
Hey, but if they meet, the dog would just go back to the old robot.
I don't think so, because I think they're both happy. I think they would just be friends.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the movie was really good.
Lotso.
Lotso?
He would not go for Lotso. He seems like he'd be cool.
He's kind of cool, I guess.
All right, well, that's a good note to end on.
He's kind of cool, I guess.
Go watch Robot Dreams if you can.
No, I recommend go watch my movie that IMDB
Yes,
Yeah, go watch
Hello.
Dreamers.
Go watch it.
Yeah, give me
Do
those.
it.
Go
Hell
me.
yeah.
Always use Celsius.
Remember,
Thanks for
always
listening.
use Celsius. See you next time.